Okay, we're good to go. I'm digging. This is the vibe. And I had this sudden urge to record what it was that I was thinking and feeling. And how does it have anything to do with this video? I put out, putting out sensitive information. You sometimes have to walk slowly, very carefully, and carry a big stick. And so the way that I disperse information is by relaying experiences. And in those experiences, the particular subject is highlighted. Okay. Having said that, I don't know, a couple of videos ago, I was talking about the fact that robots is seeking to look human. And robot, I mean AI, artificial intelligence. We that have actual intelligence are looking for artificial intelligence. And where these two ideals meet, where they cross paths, like an eclipse, is and what keeps them bound to one another is the fact that as they go through this experience, they both come to a place where there's no soul. Neither. There's no soul, because of the fact that as humans, there is no need. Now, some people are going to go, hey, look, the prosthetic and this and that, and yep, I get it. I get all that. That's entirely different. But us that have it, why are we looking to replace it when we have the original? Because it's going to help us run quicker. They say it's going to help us live longer. They say that this is, it's going to be a lot more organized. But fact remains, at the end of that video, I asked, so it's okay with you that all human mind are tied in, or digitalized, programmed into a one mind, because ultimately this is where this is heading pretty fast, all under the name of convenience and advancement, which, if you want to look through history, that's always been the excuse. That's always been the reason. So nothing new. Just maybe, they're calling it something different. But that's it. All the action is the same. And this time, because of technology, in the here and in the now, they are replugging. And that would be corralling the human intelligence and plugging it all in to one program, one mind, and saying, this is convenience. This is, no need for you to be creative. The mind will do this for you. There's no worries anymore. The mind will figure out all the problems for you. There's not going to be issues of poverty or hunger or riches or wealth. The computer will balance. Artificial mind will balance. The one mind will balance all those aspects of humanity and put it forward, making it, there again, a lot easier for us to interact human to human, keeping violence down to a minimal, and I mean minimal, war. Abolish it altogether. That's what they've done in China with all the cameras, all the webs. Like I said, even in the washrooms, there's a fine line between privacy and and um, and overexposure of self. I guess somebody taking advantage of absolutely every action, including thoughts, because now we can definitely do that. Some while back ago, a few decades anyway, people had a good laugh and went, yeah, that's really out there what it is that you're speaking of or what you say you see. And, 20 some odd years later, ta-da, and look, hey, look where we are. I remember saying when I was 10 up at the park, I remember telling everybody that we were going to buy water from bottles, and they all laughed. You know how much water there is? They all laughed. I said, I'm telling you. And all except for my best friend, and she's still my best friend till the day we die. Don't speak much, but that's still all good. It's a mirror account. And, for the last decade, bottled water has been for sale. So, moving forward from this, and I look at what would, because, okay, when I look at life, when I look at reality, and I compare my reality to my visions and the understanding of the information that was brought to me, my next video that I was going to make is and was how they implemented technology in microscopic airborne mites, for the lack of, I'm not a scientist, but I know what I saw. And so we're doing it right now. We're breathing it in and we're exhaling it. The next contribution is the chemtrails. But understand, which I know, again, in another video, I said, look, they ripped the veil. They ripped it in the 50s, the 60s. They weren't able to fix it. They put a Band-Aid on it until they could figure it out. In the process, it just ripped some more, and they still hadn't figured it out. Now we are extremely vulnerable to the sun. To the sun. Absolutely. No as ifs or buts. The radiation that the sun gives off, where we actually had benefited from this for how many thousands of years, is now extremely dangerous. Like, extremely dangerous. We're talking like grenade, and you pulled the lever up top there, you pulled the click, and we are that vulnerable. Now, we could hear this about the science and that about the science and this and that. And you know what all this and that is? It's because humanity hasn't agreed. Humanity has not come together and agreed that humanity deserves to live. We have been so spoon-fed and so conditioned and so led that we argue, from the beginning of time. People say, oh, the world was going to end long time ago, thousands and thousands of years ago, before we were piss ants. That's a good way out. But fact remains that science proves otherwise. That there's always science. There's always science. God created everything perfect. Everything perfect. It's we dilute it, twist it, drop it, put emphasis on it, manipulate it, and why is because certain knowledge has been passed down and passed down and passed down, and they take advantage of that. And like I said, even to the point of distorting it, and that is do what thou will, and that do what thou will, okay, is because there is an understanding as to why we incarnated on earth. But what was ripped away were facts that we brought with us in the incarnation of who we are. Nah. And where they speak of reincarnation and this prison planet, yada 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 yada, okay, half the time I think they're just trying to scare the shit out of people. So this way the people don't want to learn. So the people don't want to know about this. So the people say it's witchcraft. And the people say it's the devil's doing. And the people start rebuking and nothing changes. And the reason nothing changes is because it's been there from the very beginning, this knowledge, and we're not supposed to discard it in any way, shape, or form. I mean, otherwise, important people's lives were taken all in vain. And what a bunch of schmucks we are if we don't at least allow the opportunity for us to stop and consider it. Now, the confirmation that I got was exactly the fact that I did share this robot AI would eventually be placed in a physical shell. It's just a duplication, and the only thing that's going in there is what is that? Your brain, your ideas, your thoughts, what it is. Okay, and this is what they've done, and this is where selling your soul to the accuser comes in, and what the entanglement is that they don't want you to know about. And the one is the way that everything is made. Okay, if in fact you did something like this in any way, shape, or form, they don't want you to know that if you happen to wake up and you remember being in heaven and saying, pick me, I would love to have that experience. Now there's apprehension, and I can't blame home for apprehension, because a lot of people dismiss the truth as story, fantasy, lies, devil work, devil worship, new age, demonic, in every which way they dismiss it. And it shouldn't be dismissed, because it is a science that God gave us. And we, never mind take advantage of it, the people that do know about it really take advantage of it. They really do. Now, you're only going to do that if you figure you have an out. It's the only time you're going to do that. Even if you're in real high places. But the truth of the matter is, the moment you remember is the moment that you put yourself in a position where any type of darkness is going to want to let go of their grip. So much so that if you were strictly in the spirit and you decided that you were going to bind whatever energy from whoever to the heavens, you can do that. Absolutely. Because you're divine. And why would you let somebody take over who you are, your person? No. I mean, even in the name of science, the numbers are probably really low. use me as an experiment. You can have my spirit, because it's not your soul where they say you sign your soul away, you know, this contract with the devil. No, it's your spirit, because he understands that the moment you're lost, okay, you're going to stay earthbound, and you're going to be wandering to and fro, walking around like the walking dead. And the reason is because in being lost, you can't hear or realize or remember your connection to heaven. And this is what they prey on. This is what they bank on. Also, doing such horrific things and to make the world so ugly that a lot of people are saying, well, I'm going to say they're modifying their actions, they're refining their actions. Because once upon a time, you could be a lot freer with intention, affection, demonstrative actions, extend yourself. Nowadays, you're penalized for it. You're intruding, you're going into people's spaces. You are being abusive because you're not taking account that people have their own thoughts. And that's just because you're being a kind individual. And an act of kindness. So I was looking at all these different realities and all these different thoughts, and I stumbled across a video with Steve Quayle and Tom Horn, and oh jeepers, it escapes me. And their whole topic was exactly this: how man isn't registering what's really happening here. And they're so fixated, okay, on politics, and I believe this is deliberate. I really truly do, on a scale, a worldwide scale, that they want people so distracted and fearful of other situations, and they're going to take their time and their energy to chew it up, ponder over it, go over it again, with things that understandings that they've come up with, and all the while, what we really should be aware of, okay, is being ignored. And some will say, look, they've stole from us, and they've made their bunkers and this and that, yada 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 yada. Well, one, humanity has to stop acting like a victim. And I'm being a real asshole here, okay, because I am not being inconsiderate of any person that is going through any suffering that was something beyond their means of controlling. And that needs prayer. That needs human prayer from a whole lot of people, or just one that is faithful enough that would make that difference and go about wanting to heal. But first things first, we've got to take a look at agendas that we are already dealing with. Even if we're unaware of it, it doesn't mean we're not dealing with it. And it is a genocide, really. If you write it all down, put it all together, you'll go like, wow, I never looked at each piece actually, feeding the other, and how they all come into controlling one big picture. Now, also, all this that's in the air has to do with the new creation, and this new creation being AI placed in a human shell. And I mean, look, AI computer already has citizenship in Saudi. I was saying, yeah, The, they made the impression female, and I think what a slap to the face to a woman, because they have no word there. They're prosecuted if they do think, which is just horrible. But they don't know that they're being watched, and the reason is because they took out a lot of the feminine, and it is going to be the feminine that goes in and gives them a real spanking, a real kick in the ass, because and she's not happy. I'm telling you that right now. And now the she that I'm talking about, I'm not talking about ISIS and ISIS being Athena and so forth. No, no. I'm talking about the actual mother of creation is whom I'm talking about. And from there, okay, there is like I said, like a pyramid structure, and the base being humanity. The knowledge and the understanding that is kept at bay is that at the very top. There are two that are in love, and we are their children. But because we are so disconnected, we say, no, that couldn't be. Our father or our mother, because apparently she doesn't exist, and I want to say to you, if God is not a metamorphodite, if mankind doesn't have both sexes, no, I'm saying if God would have to be like that in order for him to have had Jesus and all of us, because we are made in God's image. So what happened at the beginning when Adam then Eve created from his rib, from the DNA, what happened? They decided, okay, this one is going to have a vagina and boobs. Yes, this is what's going to happen. So Adam and Eve could multiply. Now, you have to ask yourself, do we have a mother? Do we have a mother? A holy mother, a spiritual mother, that killed Christ knew, because of the conversation that I was privileged to see and to know. And that was, they said, we killed him. We killed him under the understanding that he may very well be the Son of Man, the Son of God. Now, what are we going to do? Kill her too? And then what? We're going to hell killing him. We kill her too? Where do you think that's going to go? That's not going to go anywhere near good. So they might be able to plead, saying, we did not know definitely if he was you, your groin, your son, my brother, the Messiah, the truth, the way. And then there's a huge light being shone on all of this. You can't pick and choose as to what sounds. Now, sounds. It makes all the difference in the world. But words can deceive sound. They can sweeten it. They can, sometimes you hear certain words and it goes right through you because you know it's not right. And you can hear that same word an hour, 15 minutes, 2 seconds later, and it would sound entirely different. It rubs you completely in a different way. So they said, then we really are going to hell. And they said, what are we going to do? Because we can't shut her up. She went off and she carried his ministry until it was her time to go back home, to go back to heaven, where her incarnation in a physical body timed out. That's right. And apparently she went into the desert. And that's where she transcended. And why? Because like any loving mother, if your son is going to incarnate on anyone, on any star, any planet, and you knew that the probability was really high that they were going to really devour him and cause him such a pain, because of who he actually was, you're not going to let him go it alone. You're not. Even if your husband says to you, but honey, you're still not. You're going to love your husband for loving you. And believe me, I'm not talking about him not loving Christ. I'm not talking about him not loving his son. I'm not talking about him not loving Jesus. I'm not saying that. It would be, I can't lose both of you. If I am apprehensive to you, you'll be apprehensive to our son, with our son. Chances of him manifesting his heart, his heart's desire. God doesn't know what fear is, what pain is, what grieving is, what tears are. Darn tootin'. Look, look at us. We still are refusing to get our head around a lot of a natural science that has been put and filed in the midst of entertainment and mythology, that they were able to run rampant and turn the world into shit. And who they is are the people that actually have this real knowledge and this real truth. Because when we remember it all, we all of a suddenly, what is reborn in us is the authority, and be given that authority to make this call pertaining to ourselves and the people that we love. Why? Because we are entitled to experience this existence in a physical body created by matter, just as much as any other soul that incarnated in a physical shell. For them to experience what their heart desired during their incarnation, whether it be a real anything versus something that's phony. And what I mean by that in my silence is because I have a gazillion different answers to one thought, that when I do want to open my mouth, I've already, passed that channel. We don't want to get our heads around this. We don't want to get our heads around this concept. And the reason is because it would free you. It would free you body, mind, soul, spirit. It would free you because you would have the understanding, hey, wait a minute, I can really call the shots here. Is it that easy? What did our Lord say? I'm going to reiterate this constantly, always. You can do all that I can do and more. He wanted us to know this. The healing was for everybody, including his disciples, particularly that they saw. So this way they would do, and in doing so would have the same reaction that he created, and that was to let the knowledge, like a ripple in the waters, move its way out there. Move its way out there. How do you think he walked on water? How do you think he calmed storms? Because he came as man to explain to us how we were created, what the truth really was, and how everything goes. Now, the people in the know here don't want us to know, because then we would all of a sudden resolve a lot of world issues. Our neighbors would be so apprehensive to contact us and say, yes, you are not alone. But I don't know how many times they've told me. So much so that we, in this particular galaxy or universe, we are the ones that are most violent. They do understand that a lot of it is fear-based because humans aren't being told the truth of matters. And by, God and this other reality, which really isn't, it is this reality, and I'm talking about Lucifer, and I'm talking about giants, and I'm talking about A to Z. They're all part of one. But information is still not being put across completely. Not saying that I would know completely. Everything I do know has been given to me, and I'm always in prayer. Always in prayer. And, you know, I'm the first to say I'm a schmuck. Or I'm the first to say I'm a real asshole. My bad. I am really, truly sorry. I am a very humble person, and the reason why is because I do have this memory. Why do I want to, wrinkle anybody's sheet or burn anybody's house down? Sick metaphors, but they're extremes for a reason. Why would I want to do that to somebody else's experience in their physical body? I know that even when I get angry, and I have to catch myself because I sometimes just very point on direction, and I gotta stop to think my energy goes from me to there. And it is a life process, is what it is. So to keep people away from the truth, let's get back to that. To keep people away from the truth, what the truth really is, everything is really sugar coated and reshaped very tidy. So much so that it wouldn't be questioned because it appears that everything is fitting together charmingly. And it's not. It's not. We are actually being ripped off of the knowledge that sets us free. In the words of our Lord Jesus, sets us free. The truth sets us free. free. And by, the truth is free. It doesn't just set us free, it is free. Yeah. So this whole, okay, and a good part of this has to do with who we really are as beings before we should go there psychologically and analyze whether it is a good direction that mankind is headed, or are we handing over our intelligence because they have figured out a way to thin the flock without us really noting or noticing, and there be a spread of the truth, and they could control that spread of the truth. And that, goes back to the internet world and the internet war and all those politics that I like to stay away from. I have no need to be political. Absolutely no need. I understand politics, obviously, and I listen to different ideas, and this and that, and so on and so forth. But to out and out, flat out, want to change anybody's mind just wouldn't be a part of who I am. All of that worldly stuff just happens on its own. What I do is I've replaced that with, if you don't want to know the truth, don't ask me. If you don't want to know the truth, don't involve me in a conversation. Because if you do, you are going to find that I just like to lay it right out on the table. And it makes some people uncomfortable, and it really makes other people really comfortable, because they know if they're going to run it by me, that's what they're going to hear. Whether it would be knowledge I know, or perception, or because I go into prayer. I go into prayer about certain things, and I stay in that prayer till I am blessed with the release of that knowledge in what direction it would go, and none of us are God, none of us. But I am blessed that I am able to help relieve human pain. Because humanity really is in pain. And a lot of it has to do with the separation and the creation of classes. And it has to do with humanity not happy with the gifts that they have. The majority don't know they have these gifts because we don't really know our potential, because they have filed it under a craft. And in the meantime, look what churches have done, what governments have done. Now there's, raping from the poor and creating, I saw a video on one of these underground bunkers. They even have theaters under there. I'm thinking, wow, that's like a 5-star hotel there. They've got absolutely everything. And I'm thinking to myself, have they no idea? Well, obviously, none of us have an idea of an earthquake that would be 9.9 and up. None of us. None of us. But we do need to imagine the very worst. Now, Mountains are literally going to move from its place. Mountains moving from their place. And mountains are going to be collapsing. And other Earth, I'm sure, is going to be coming up. The best course of action is bring some science into your life. You don't know that knowledge, do it for yourself. Get into that knowledge. Get into how the plates are moving. Get into, which volcanoes are going off, and prior to incident and after incident, because you'll be able to map, general idea and map, in which direction the Earth is going to go from where the onslaught of movement is. And I always say it's like pool. It's like playing pool. Literally. If you hit the ball and splice it this way, it goes there. If you hit the ball and splice it that way, it goes there. Sometimes you got to get that corner pocket. Now, if you look at the movement of the Earth and the action of this Earth, it will show you safe places. It will show you paths that humanity should go. This here that I'm sharing with you right now is from one of my visions. And like I said, the reason I got all this is because I was entrusted to talk about it. I was entrusted to relay words, to relay meanings, to relay understanding, and relay why we should be celebrating. Because once you've got the whole picture, oh yeah, you'll be plugged into heaven yourself. Where you think am I really hearing you right, Lord? Is it really you, Lord? I think all of that will be fine tuned, all of it. And yes, we were left with severe and serious issues that we were able to uh, tangibly read and go, wow, okay, this is happening now. Wow, this is when it began, and you get to see the different stages, throughout years. And I'm talking periods of thousands of years. I'm not talking days. You can see in itself. You manage to read a Bible from every aspect, from history to science to spirit to to physical, medical, oh man, prophetic, healing, all of it. You have a clear understanding of all of it, and you yourself as a human being will vibrate lighter, a lot lighter. I mean, so much so that I'm going to say, if this was what I'm talking about here, if this was something that is being said that was going to be a hindrance, no, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right at all. We'll just forget that. Um, um, that analogy, and when it does come back to me, whether it's this video or another one, I'll definitely put that in there. But it is reaction to action, and if we understand why we are here, how we are, how we really are, who we are, how we are, then the dark side loses all grip. All grip. And as humanity as a whole, we can change that direction. Actually, we need to change that direction. We need to be able to change the future. if all goes very dark and very bleak, we can at least take comfort in knowing about the Lord's return, and the who remained loyal will be lifted, will be removed, and not have to experience the day of the Lord. Now, where the rapture comes in, a lot of people have a completely different misconception of the rapture. I think they beautified it. Sorry for lighting a cigarette. I looked at the time and I went, okay, I gotta end this. I should probably finish this because I'm just in the mood to get it all out. I think it's really important. We need to just stop for a second, let go of the reins of just everything, of all that is right and wrong, that a society outside of yourself has imposed on humanity, their version of what is and what isn't, what is right, what is wrong, what is real, what is imaginary, what is fabricated or actually created. Yeah, and this is how, like I was saying, and what the darkness banks on. This is what happens when souls are lost, and this is how these souls are earthbound. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. You come across this, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, and you can subscribe. It just might not hurt. Okay, I'm not sure what I'm going to entitle this video, but please check for part 2 because I am going to do that just now. Okay, until then, ciao amore. Ciao ciao. Ciao.